Hi, welcome to our podcast, Above Deck, a Below Deck breakdown podcast. I'm Sarah Goldman, coming to you from my home office here in Charleston, South Carolina. And with me, as always, is my college roommate and co-host, Kelli.
I'm Kelli Busby, a former radio host and someone who has finally seen the Barbie movie, coming to you from my home studio in Columbus. Together, Sarah and I hosted the Socks with Sandals radio show on WFAL in Bowling Green, Ohio. And we are back at it again this week to discuss Below Deck and our love of all things Bravo. Today, we'll be discussing Below Deck Med Season 8, Episode 14, Caught Red-Handed.
Here's your recap. Max and Sandy talk, and Luka ends up in hot water when Captain Sandy finds out he's texting Katie Flood. The guests are treated to sunset from a castle and a blindfolded dinner. The crew deals with multiple crew members falling ill. Kelli, what do you think about this episode?
I thought it was so nice to see everyone on TV again. I feel like I'm back into some sort of a routine instead of wondering what day it is.
It's been like 3 weeks. Everyone keeps saying, what happened to last week's episode?
I'm glad they had a recap because I had no idea. So all in all, I thought it was a good episode. There were some very awkward moments. And Luka, what are we going to do with you?
What are we going to do? So the episode picks up with Sandy asking Max to apologize for saying there was no food when he just didn't want the food that was there. He says no, and he walks out. And Sandy goes out to talk to him on the bow, and they talk, and she tries to understand where he's coming from. And it's the new schedule, and he's hangry. And she says it's okay, and he says he's sorry.
Well done by both. And I can't imagine being that tired with it and being hangry and with the new schedule and trying to translate in my head from French to English and back to French. I mean, he handled it pretty well, I thought. So did Sandy.
And she was pretty understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little worried, and she was like, I don't like liars. It's like, whoa. So
like, time out.
Yeah. So Kyle catches up with the charter guest. They're asking him, how the season has been. And it was kind of a shock to look back at those clips because it hasn't been a good season for Kyle.
No.
And the guests complained about Jack not listening to them in regards to the meat doneness.
Anyway, I don't know. Didn't they bring up a plate of more well done stuff like shortly thereafter?
Yes.
I know it was just kind of a weird thing, but
yeah.
Do you think Kyle was sharing a little too much, or was he trying to set him up so that he didn't say it, but then the guests would be like, well, what do you mean? Well, okay. And just kind of shared everything.
Yeah, he definitely shared too much. He just should have said, oh, it's been a good season, but had its challenges, just leave it at that. But the problem is he knows these guests, so he is like ready to vent to somebody. So Max is now getting to eat some very delicious vegetarian food, and he's happy.
He just wants to eat, relax. I get it. Same. Let him eat his fruit and be happy.
Exactly. So Kyle goes to lay down yet again. He's not feeling his best. And Toomey wants him up there with the guests because he brings the energy.
Yeah.
And Billy is still being a pain in the butt.
Why is he being such a PETA?
I don't know. I don't find this cute at all, like all the complaints. So Luka's sitting in the wheelhouse with Sandy, and he tells her he's texting with Katie Flood, and she's in Portofino. So Sandy says she can tell by his smile that he has a crush on Katie. And Luka realizes in this moment that Captain Sandy has no clue about him and Jess, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Captain Sandy reminds me of the aunt that can get anything out of anyone. And I think we all have that aunt in our family. But then they keep it stored up for time, and they bring it out at the perfect time to embarrass you. And I feel like this is what Captain Sandy's going to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So Luka, Lara, and Jess go set up for drinks at the top of it was a castle, right? Wasn't it a castle?
Yeah.
Some kind of something. Okay. So Max was supposed to go, but he's too tired. So Lara and Luka are annoyed because they're tired too.
Right. Yeah.
Lily is entertaining the guests with this game that she plays with her family. It's a guessing game where they are celebrities, something like that.
Kind of interesting. I like this. And I like that, Lily's really kicking some butt this charter. So
I know
she's on top of it.
She's turned things around.
Yeah.
So the guests go with Lily up to the top of this castle. They're having a great time. Beautiful sunset. The rest of the crew are eating dinner together in the crew mess. And Sandy comes down and sees Luka texting. And she says, is that your girlfriend from the other boat? And the room goes silent. Luka's face and Jess's face in this moment, just like complete shock. And then it gets worse. Sandy continues on this route. She says Luka is smitten, and Toomey thinks this is hilarious. And maybe it wasn't shown, but Luka could have shut this down immediately.
Yeah.
Instead, he gets up and washes dishes, and he says, we need to get the jet skis in. And Jess is understandably very upset.
It is obvious that Sandy has no idea what she has just done in the crew mess. And it was so cringy. And then the producers show her just kind of walking around the boat. Like, I have no idea what I have just done. Because she didn't.
So Luka talks to Max about following orders, even when you're exhausted. And Max is very hard to talk to in this moment.
Yeah, I get it.
The guests come back for dinner, and tonight is the blindfolded dinner. And Billy explains to Toomey that tonight they will rely heavily on service because the stews have to be like, here's your fork, here's your spoon, go a little to the right, a little to the left. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was a bit nervous for them in this part of the charter for this dinner. Like, communication hasn't been their strong point this season. So.
Right. Yeah. So Jack has done some really strong flavors, which I guess you have to do with this dine in the dark meal.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard of this, by the way, this blindfolded dinner?
I remember pre-pandemic, there was like dining in pitch black in some restaurants, and it was kind of a thing for a minute.
Okay.
I think that might be the same thing, but since they're on the yacht, they can't really do that. But
yeah.
I think it got to the point where servers were having to wear like night vision goggles.
What?
And yeah, because I just have so many questions, because I'm sure the kitchen had to be in the dark too, because that would hurt your eyes coming and going from dark to.
Oh, this is so strange.
Yeah. So I don't think they do that very often anymore. So I like this version of dining in the dark where you just have blindfolds on.
Yeah. It does seem kind of fun, but I would be nervous.
I have trust issues with people.
What's that?
I have trust issues with people.
I know. I'm like, don't put a slug in my mouth.
Right.
I just don't know.
Please don't put clams in there or oysters.
Okay. So the first course, speaking of that, oysters minuet, it goes well. Toomey's doing a great job of explaining how to eat each of the items.
Yeah.
The next course is fish, which is a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have hand fed them like babies.
Lara did for one of the guests,
but she okay.
I was thinking that it probably would have been better in a bowl so they could kind of catch the food.
Right.
Catch the food. But
yeah. A
plate. But it seemed to go really well. They really liked it.
Yeah. So Luka in his green screen, he says, obviously I like Jess as more than a friend.
Okay.
Luka, you are dropping anchor with this girl. This is such an understatement. And all of his texting and smooching this season is starting to catch up to him.
He said they are making out. I will just say we have seen the footage. That is some very active making out, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, love you, Luka, but
you don't have to put up a comforter to block your makeout sessions. So Laura and Luka tell Sandy that she got him in trouble, and Laura calls dropping anchor swaying.
Oh, I wondered what she was saying. Okay.
I think that's what she said. And she says, now Jess doesn't want to sway with him anymore. Yikes. And Sandy says, whoops. But Sandy loves drama. She loves it.
I had no idea, which I kind of do believe. But at the same time, she did say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And I thought, I haven't heard that in a really long time. We're all right. Here we go.
Yeah, you could see she was playing back like the things that she said. She's like, oh, yeah, that's bad. So instead of talking to Jess, Luka texts her. It's not helpful. Nothing's resolved. And Jess goes to bed. And then Luka goes to bed and he's texting Natalia about how much he misses her.
It seems like a different season from when Natalia was on the boat. Like it seemed like, how long ago was that? For us, it was like a decade, right? But then on the show, like the actual taping, it was only like a couple weeks.
I know. It does. The vibe is really different without her. In a good way, I have to say.
Yeah.
So the guests want late night snacks. Lily has some cooking experience, and so she makes them some guacamole. They seem happy.
I liked it.
The next day, there's some bad weather coming, and so Sandy tells the crew they need to haul anchor and depart before it gets worse. Poor Max has just gone to bed, and he has to get back up for this.
They are all dragging. It's worrisome.
Yeah. Laura's not feeling well. Yikes. And Luka says she has the FLOOF.
Ooh, not the FLOOF.
Not the FLOOF. So Toomey talks to Jess about Luka. Luka wants to hang out with Jess after the show wraps, but Jess worries about getting too attached.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. Girl, you are attached. You guys are one. But here's the thing. She won't even talk to him in person. And they are stuck on a boat together.
Right.
I wouldn't be making any plans beyond the boat. But
I know.
But I'm not 20-something and dropping anchor with Luka. So whatever.
So Kyle finally gets out of bed.
Thank goodness.
Jess and Luka don't talk, but they do kiss in Captain Sandy's office. And Toomey says, "This is why you don't get into a relationship with a Scorpio."
Why Captain Sandy's office? I'm just curious. Like,
probably because there are no cameras in
meet.
there.
Huh?
I think because there's no cameras in there. Like, I think there was a camera person that followed them there, but I don't think there are cameras in there. So I think that's why.
They know they have microphones on, right?
Yeah, I can't. Apparently they forget. So the guests depart. Good riddance.
Yeah.
And I hate that they had to say anything bad about the food, like as they departed. Just say thank you and hand the money over. Sandy texts Haley. She's still nonstop throwing up. Like, she can't come back.
It's not good.
Not good. Okay, the tip meeting. $32,000. Okay, Billy, we forgive you for being a pain in the butt.
Wow. That's amazing.
But don't you think Kyle should have handed everyone $100 each out of his tip?
I was thinking more, but yeah, he should
at least.
Did he get some?
I think he took his share. He was down like the whole time. Not cool. I mean, at least offer, even if they say no.
Yeah.
You should offer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you need to pay for dinner tonight, something.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
Lara goes and lays down. She feels terrible. Crew night out. Max and Laura stay in. I love Max's silk robe that he's wearing around the boat.
I think my favorite part is how he's walking around with the robe on, like he's the owner of the boat. Like he's standing on the side, looking over, that he's sitting in one of the chairs. He's just got his robe on. And if he had a pipe, he would have been set. But he was just
he's like Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, exactly.
So the crew goes out and they eat at this fancy restaurant. Luka invites Jess to go to France after this for a week.
And she says yes. Weren't you? Wait. She wasn't talking to him a few hours prior to this. Like they weren't even conversing. Like, what is happening?
I know. But if Luka invited me to go to France, I would also say yes. I wouldn't even hesitate. So I get it.
Yeah, that's true.
So they head to the bar. Toomey points out that this is the first night that there has not been any crew night out drama, which I'm sure is going to change on the next crew night out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So back on the boat, Luka sets up his dropping anchor blanket tent.
Yes.
Lily visits Max, but he's not into her because she's smelling like the bar. And he keeps saying, "Lily, go down, go down."
I died. I'm sure she left, right? They didn't show her leaving, but I think she left. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So the next day, Laura has chills. She still feels terrible. She obviously has the floof. Captain Sandy wants to get her off the boat before she infects anybody. And if Haley doesn't come back before Laura leaves, Sandy will not be able to take the boat off the dock because they have to have a minimum number of deckhands per whatever the boat rules are. The next charter's in 5 hours. And
oh my gosh.
Episode ends there.
I hope no one else gets sick.
I know. It's close quarters. I mean, how could you not catch the flu or whatever she has?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that what happens on cruise ships? Like what is it, the norovirus? Like one person gets it, just takes it down. That's my main
reason not for going on a cruise. Sounds awful.
Yeah.
So the preview for next week shows Natalia coming for a surprise visit. I want to know, is Katie Flood coming to visit or not? Like, he's texting her. Can they not make it? Maybe she can't get over there because she's in Portofino. I don't know. But I really would like to see a little crossover.
Would be interesting, wouldn't it? If Natalia showed up and Katie Flood and Jess was there.
Yeah.
I would be like, can I have some popcorn? I'm going to watch this. Thanks.
Okay. Now it's time for our segment, Metaphors with Max. Kelly, which one of these Max quotes was your favorite this week?
Okay.
When I'm tired and hungry, I become angry. I need to just breathe and watch a video of Cat on YouTube.
Okay.
Number 2. If he's upset, it's his problem, but it's okay. I'm just going into the simple mode of just doing yes, 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 yes. Number 3. It's crazy, bro. Everybody is falling like cards. Have you spoken with some voodoo of some ex? Have you been in couple with some witch before? Number 4, reset. Like iPhone, you know? Like it's going crazy. Voot! You reset the iPhone. Opa! And lastly, I love this robe. It followed me everywhere. Everyone loves it. It's so cool. It's so bougie. You can shoot a hip hop clip, you know, because it's so cool.
I don't know. They're all like absolutely classic. I think I like the one that's like, it's number 3. It's crazy, bro. Everyone's falling like cards. Have you spoken with some voodoo of some ex? Have you been in couple with some witch before? I kind of like that one.
I like the one where he just needs to breathe and watch video of cat on YouTube.
Yeah, because I think we all can relate to that one for sure.
Yeah, and then they showed him later, like watching a video in his bunk, and you heard like, meow. I'm sure the editors added that, but that was so funny. All right, well, let's take a quick break and we'll come back with Hot Tub Convo. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Around the new year, many of us are thinking about resolutions and striving to be the best version of ourselves. Kelli, you and I have big plans for 2024. Therapy can help us define exactly what it is that we want and help us to actually accomplish those goals.
BetterHelp makes starting therapy easier and less intimidating for a lot of people. It lets you have therapy sessions as a phone call, video chat, or even messaging, whatever is most comfortable for you. Click the link in our description. It's betterhelp.com/abovedeck. That's betterhelp.com/abovedeck. Clicking that link helps support this podcast, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp.
You'll be matched with a therapist in most cases within 48 hours. If you feel like your therapist isn't a great fit for any reason, no worries. You can switch therapists with just the click of a button at no additional cost.
Join the over 4 million people who have used BetterHelp to start living a healthier, happier life. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/abovedeck. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this podcast. It's time for Hot Tub Convo, where we discuss what's happening with our favorite Below Deck cast members.
Kyle applied to be on Survivor.
What?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you in his little group on Instagram that's like just for special people? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
It's a little like private thing that you can join, like
Kyle.
for not a subscriber, but I don't know what it is. You have to join it though.
Okay, I'll look for it.
But he just posted a picture of like his application like submitted for Survivor, and he said, "Why not?"
Oh my gosh.
I don't see Kyle doing that well on Survivor.
Going from being on super fancy bazillion-dollar yachts to having whatever you need at whatever time.
Being on some island covered in bug bites, scavenging for firewood. I just don't see it, Kyle. I would watch that though. I would definitely watch that.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, okay, that's it.
Word on the street is season 3 of Below Deck Down Under has not started filming yet. Someone said they maybe they were having trouble finding a location and they may go elsewhere. I say they go to Charleston, South Carolina, and just do Below Deck in the low country.
Down low country.
Yeah.
Below Deck down south. Yeah, I mean they can't leave Australia. It's like, I don't know. That would be weird for Down Under to be somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But everyone's watching.
For sure.
So Below Deck season 11 has a premiere date. It's February 5th, and it will be a 75-minute episode. So we have that to look forward to. So hopefully Med wraps before that starts. I think it probably will. We probably have like 15, 16, 17, probably like 3 more episodes-ish.
Yeah, that sounds, there's about 3 more months left or 3 more weeks left. So it's about right.
So I think the timing is good. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm very excited for that season.
Yeah, it looks really great.
It's time for our segment, Join Me in the Wheelhouse, where we decide who needs to see Captain Sandy for a stern talking to. Kelli, who do you choose this week?
Luka.
Yeah.
Just
good choice.
Come on, friend. Like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk to you in the wheelhouse where there are cameras.
Yeah.
So that's it. Just Luka.
Good choice. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Above Deck. Thank you to our team at Hurrdat Media, especially Grace, Pat, and Danielle. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to tell a friend, and please rate and review us. 5 stars only.
Please follow us on Instagram at Above Deck Pod. You can email us at abovedeckpod@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can also watch us on the Hurrdat Media YouTube channel. Until next week, I'm Kelli Busby.
And I'm Sarah Goldman. See you next week.
Yay, we did it.
We did it. We're back, baby. We're back. Yeah.
Sha, sha, sha.